and just happy to see again another Phoenix fly. We have prepared Whisper for this.
Dujuan Richards, to your knowledge, enter Chelsea's radar. Alright, we're here with, is it CEO, Chairman, Founder, Director, President of Phoenix Sport Group and Academy. I'm not exactly familiar with your title, but we know that Craig Butler is the man in charge of Phoenix. He's also the agent of players like, Kevin Reed and more popularly known Leon Bailey and Dujuan Richards. Based on the title of this video, people would have already known the occasion. Congratulations are in order, Mr. Butler. First of all, how does it feel to manage to pull this off yet again? Were you ever in doubt?
No. It feels good. It's a story about love. It's a story about loyalty. It's a story about perseverance. It's a story about being able to absorb pain, ridicule, and lies, and overcoming it. So, proud of my players. Proud of the academy, proud of the coaches, proud of the management, and just happy to see again another Phoenix fly.
Alright, first of all, before getting into to all the details, because there would have been a lot, a lot of adversity, a lot of drama, a lot of ups and downs as it relates to this particular move. But the technical aspect of it, when did Chelsea become a factor, and when did Dujuan Richards, to your knowledge, enter Chelsea's radar?
It really isn't just Chelsea. It's about Joe Shields. We had met about 2 years ago, and I had presented him. At the time, he was at Man City with Dujuan Richards and about our academy and the players and what we can do. He moved a couple times, ended up at Chelsea, and he remembered the talent and the quality. It's about Tony White, who is the scout for Chelsea in mainland Europe, a Jamaican, who in fact has for many years been ostracized from the JFF, and he has been working with Chelsea, doing great work over the years, and been a great friend to us. So he continued to support us, and the interest has been there for quite some time. It was there with Leon. The relationship has been there with Leon and Kyle, and it's now moved to another level.
All right. Recently, Dujuan Richards would have gone to Europe, but not to go to Chelsea. He would have went to Newcastle FC. How did that pan out? Like, where did that come from? And can you give us any details as it relates to that particular trial?
Well, it's important to understand that a trial goes both ways.
Yeah.
We are trying the club. They are trying us. We have to make sure that it's a proper fit and that it will be able to benefit not just the club in England, but also the academy here and the player, the player's family. So we looked at the options with Chelsea, who came on board as well, made a bid, and also the options with Newcastle. Chelsea was willing to come here immediately and to speak to us, and Joe came.
Joe, the director of recruiting.
Recruiting, and probably the best recruiter in the industry. So he came, he told us his story. And that's the funny thing about it. He told us about himself. And his story spoke about loyalty. It spoke about supporting his players that he found from they were 17, 18 until today, no matter which club they went to. And this meant a lot to me. And to Whisper's parent, mom, and family, because we know that he will stick with Whisper and look out for him, and he understands that it really is a very strong network that works with Whisper, the Phoenix network.
All right, even before the business aspect of it, even before him signing, how was he at the trials? We know Kyle Butler, one of his managers, would have accompanied him on those 2 weeks to Newcastle. How was his football? How did he adjust to the climate? It's the winter in England when he went there. How did he perform? Did he score a lot of goals? Did he impress? What was his reviews?
Well, one of the things that is important is to recognize the fact that we have prepared Whisper for this. We sent him to school in England for a period of about 6 to 8 months in the cold, so he was able to adapt from then. We have been going on tours across England, across Europe during the coldest months of the year, February and January. So we are he was okay and ready to do it. And when he went on there, he did a great job. He dominated. He went into the first team to train, left the under 21s, and his performance was excellent. It's important also that we had sent Kyle, who had spent life as a professional footballer before, and understood what to do and what not to do. So I'm very pleased with that happening.
All right, and he was obviously successful, but the nuances, of European travel, there are limitations, and as such, he would have had to come home after 2 weeks. He came home to a firestorm of controversy and criticism about his performance or lack thereof while in England. What is something that you'd say to those critics now that everything is public about his success, so on and so forth? It must have been hard to sit on all this success, hearing the hate and hearing the abuse, towards the kid who we hear at this or that sports TV are very fond of. It must have been hard to sit on all of that and without being able to say anything, because obviously they're legally bound.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing. Great people overcome adversity, and we don't pay any attention to worms. Worms are under the ground, snakes, yeah, and so we avoid them. We focus on the right things. We focus on the player. We focus on the family. We focus on Phoenix, and we focus on what we can be. We know the truth, and sometimes, I remember, if you look back at Jesus' life, many times he had the opportunity to come off the cross if he wanted to. Yeah, he had the opportunity to call his father, and his father would destroy everybody around. But he held it, and he did it for the right reasons. And we believe that, I held my position for the right reasons. I kept Whisper's story secret, and I allowed all the haters and those who wanted to benefit from him financially without ensuring that he got the chances to be one of the best in the world. We allowed them to continue speaking and doing what they want to do. If I was to say some of the things that was done, I don't think the world would look very kindly on those people. But one of the things that I recognize is that Whisper is important, and you don't wash your dirty laundry out in public.
And to the matter at hand, Chelsea FC, Joe Shields came and would have put together, a great composition of information to convince Dujuan Richards of his importance to the program.
Yeah.
How do you feel about them as a club? Like, how do you see Dujuan fitting in with the club going forward?
Well, one of the things that I like is the fact that they're proactive. If they see something they want, they're gonna go out and work for it and get it. And Joe's reputation as a recruiter, and also as a spot in an eye for talent, meant a lot. Because if he believed in my kid enough to fly here overnight to come and try and get him for Chelsea, then it means that he's going to push him. And one of the things that he did with his presentation is he showed the loyalty he has had with his players from the beginning all the way through, no matter which club they're at. So that is something that's important to us, because remember, we're here in Jamaica and we travel and we'll be there for them, but we can't always be there. So we're going to have to trust somebody. And based off what he has shown, I think he can be trusted.
The club, is in a rough spell right now. Recently getting their first win and scoring their first goal in what seems to many Chelsea fans, like ages. Do you think the senior team performance might, affect Dujuan Richards' standing and his growth, considering that Chelsea aren't doing very well right now?
Life is a cycle, a cycle of rising, getting comfortable, falling, and getting up again. And I think that's what Chelsea is doing. I think they're doing it the right way. You're coming for Dujuan Richards. You're adding better players and younger players, and you're focusing on rebuilding the club. and you're getting people like Joe. So it's important. And for me, I think it would be better to join a club that is struggling at this time and help it to become great again than it would be to join a club that's at the top. Because you would not have shown where your impact and has made its mark.
Are you surprised at the level of teams that have shown interest in Dujuan Richards? Me personally, I've been a fan of the player. I've always seen him playing in Europe at a top 6 level club, at a one of the top clubs, one of the top countries, the Dutch league, the Spanish league, French league, so on and so forth. I've seen him on that level. I don't think I've ever seen Chelsea FC, Champions League winners, English Premier League winners. I don't think I definitely saw that level for him as a player. Are you surprised with such big teams, not even just Chelsea, but other big teams coming in for him?
No. Faith is the evidence of things unseen. Yeah? And you have to recognize that if you show me your faith without works, I will show you my faith by my works. I believe in Whisper, and I believe in all of our players. And he has shown by that faith, yeah, what he can do. And believe me, I know that he's going to make it. And I know that he's not the only one. Phoenix is full of talent. Full of talent. I went to Ajax. They're interested in one of our players. Genk interested in one of our players. Club in Slovakia wants 3 of our players. Club Bruges is interested in 2 of our players. So it's not a situation where it's a one-off situation. It's where you're developing the talent, doing the right things on a daily basis, and giving them the courage and strength to go forward.
Yeah, and that segues perfectly into what I was just about to speak about. Who's next? We've seen you do it with Leon at the highest possible level. We're seeing you actively doing it with Dujuan. And in the vlog, when people see the video that's released, they'll see us at somewhere, I won't disclose the location, seeing the boys play at midnight. I kid you not, I was yawning. I was so tired, I wanted to go to bed. And they were playing at full intensity, and I saw a kid. He has featured on our channel before, but I've never seen him in competitive play. Mighty Ants, I think it's Nathaniel McCarthy. And he was absolutely amazing. I was in shock every single time he touched the ball. Speak to us about the pipeline. Denzel Washington McKenzie, that I rave about him all the time. Still upset not to have seen him in the under-17 competition. Speak to us about the pipeline. Who's next? Who is the next Leon Bailey? Who is the next Dujuan Richards?
Well, there's no Dujuan Richards or Leon Bailey. They all have their own names.
Yeah.
And that's why the academy is called Phoenix All-Stars. They're all-stars. And all-stars in their own right. I'm confident that Mighty Ants will make it. He has good examples ahead of him, and he's working hard, and we're supporting him. That's the key. It's a village that's there, and we've done a great job. And I believe that Whisper, then you'll have Denzel McKenzie, you have Damoy Whitfield, you have Don Hugh Mitchell. They have top talents, and unfortunately for Jamaica, the next one I think that's gonna go, because he's already at Ghent in Belgium. It's a player by the name of Shemron Phillips, Shaba, the winger. So I'm very excited about him. But for the first time, I'm going to say this. Akeem Pusai Bernard is the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in Jamaica. He is 6'5" now. He has the reflexes of a cat, and he has the body and power that will be able to take Jamaica to the next level. And I think he will also go.
All right, Coach. We know you're a busy man and you have more business to deal with, so we'll have to just pick this up another time, people. But that's Craig Butler, the agent of Dujuan Richards. New Chelsea player. Can you imagine the scenes?